everyone, and welcome to Chargers Chat. This week, joined by Christina Hill. Hello, Christina.
Hi.
Christina is involved in the culinary program here at Southwest Tech, and Christina was also named Southwest Tech's State Student Ambassador. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's a great honor to be named the State Student Ambassador. So, Christina, let's start maybe with a little background. Where are you from, and how did you get interested in the culinary program here at Southwest Tech?
I'm from Boscobel, Wisconsin. I always loved cooking. I went to a restaurant and the customer service wasn't the best. So my husband and I started talking about that, and he didn't quite understand at first why. So I explained what the lady did wrong, and we decided, well, maybe I should go back to school, get a degree in culinary arts, and possibly open up a restaurant and be able to teach the younger generations about good customer service.
That's great. And how long have you been at Southwest Tech, and how did you get started here? What program did you start with?
I started with culinary arts, and I'll come back next year for management.
Oh, that's great. What did you enjoy about the culinary arts program when you went through that?
I love cooking. I love the look on people's faces when they taste my food. It's an incredible feeling.
That's great. Good. And when do you expect to graduate, and what are your plans after graduation, Christine?
Well, I will finish up culinary arts this year, and I'm going to come back next year for culinary management. So I'll graduate next year, 2020.
That's great. And as far as the culinary program, what are some of the types of things that you learn throughout the program? It's a lot, isn't it?
It is. It's a lot, but the instructors are wonderful, Jeff and Karen. We learn how to cut up meat. That was probably one of my favorite classes. I grew up cutting up meat, so it was pretty easy for me, I think. But I think the one I like the most is the restaurant experience of it that we get to learn.
Sure. Yeah, and that kind of leads into my next question as far as the restaurant. We have culinary lunches here every so often. Can you talk about that a little bit and your experiences working with those, Christine?
Yep. So our first year we split up, so we do half and half. Half of the time we're cooking in the back, and then half of the time we're up front doing management and waitressing. We take everything into consideration, from how it looks, how it tastes, obviously, and down to the ambiance of the room, the temperature, color, the menu. There's a lot that goes into it.
Sure. And for people who don't know, what does Southwest Tech have? We obviously have a kitchen, and we also have sort of a restaurant type of thing. What's all involved here, Christina?
You mean for just the culinary program?
Yeah.
We do a lot of catering for I would say for, I don't know what I'm looking for, I'm not sure.
For events and things like that?
Yeah, for our club, our culinary club.
Oh, sure.
A lot of after school activities. We do a lot of catering events. We do buffets the second semester of our first year, and then the third semester, that fall, we do Dining 1, which is a little bit more upscale. And then for this semester, the final semester, we do Dining 2, which is fine dining, which is very upscale. It's not necessarily about the waitressing experience that you would get. It's more just about the food.
Sure. That's great. And for people who've never visited Southwest Tech, actually during these culinary lunches, we actually have it's a room, but it looks like a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not just about the food, it's about the table makeup. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know the right words, but.
Yeah. We, so every week is different. It's a different experience. We break down the room very fast and we put it together. Every week there's a new person in charge, new manager, and Karen helps them figure out their colors to what they want on the table, to their napkin folds, and then anything and beyond that.
Sure. And speaking of that, where the students are in charge, they're kind of like the house managers, I guess, sort of. That's what I love about Southwest Tech. It's a lot of hands-on work. You really get in and get to do it yourself.
Yeah.
How have you enjoyed that? You kind of get to maybe manage your own type of restaurant while you're here. How do you like that, Christina?
I really like that because my goal after school is to own my own restaurant. So I definitely pay attention to everything Karen has to offer, and to say I definitely try to soak up as much as I can from her because she's very knowledgeable.
Sure. I think you touched on it a little bit, but there's so much that goes into it. It's, the food prep and the cooking and the customer service and the setup. Is there one portion of that you like better than the other that you enjoy more?
No.
Yeah,
no,
you like it all?
I think I like it all.
Yeah. So earlier this week, Christina, I had the opportunity to go into the kitchen, something I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
And Christina, what did you make?
I made chicken piccata with broccoli and fried potatoes.
All right, let's take a look, and we'll go through this dish that Christina made.
Okay.
So, what do you start with here? At the beginning, you prep the food, is that right, Christina?
Yep. Well, the first thing that we're taught here in the culinary program is mix. That is where you get all your ingredients ready and you get it measured out even before you start cooking. It just works smoother. Chance of messing up.
Sure. And you mentioned to me while we were doing this is one of your favorite recipes. What goes into this recipe?
So the broccoli is easy. It's just steamed broccoli, and then I saute it again along with the potatoes. But the chicken, that is just chicken breast, and then it just has some butter, some lime, and capers. That's the key because it's tough.
Yeah. So, and broccoli, obviously I'm not a fan of broccoli, as you can tell, but this broccoli, it was cooked really well, and it was soft, and it was really tasty. Is that usually how you cook broccoli, Christine?
Yeah, I remember I used to cook my broccoli a lot. But Jeff showed us the proper way to cook it, and I really enjoyed it.
That's great. And what are you doing here? Are those spices on the chicken?
Yep, that's just salt and pepper, and then I just put a little bit of flour on it, and then I'm sauteing it in some butter.
Okay, great. And then I know you mentioned it's a little more difficult to cook chicken. Is that right?
It is, because it tends to burn flavors. So you definitely have to keep an eye on it. Just slow is what Jack tells us.
And it matters also what type of pan you use. Some pans cook faster than others. And also, check the temperature. Health is a big concern too, obviously.
Yes. We take sanitary calls. And there's a lot of different things for different varieties of food that you cook that you have to bring it up to.
Sure. And what's going in the pan here? Is that the capers?
Yep, that's the capers.
Okay. And what did you put in this mix here? This goes on the chicken, right? Is that right?
Yep, this is the sauce for the chicken. So it's just a little bit of, it's just the extra butter that I cooked the chicken in, along with the capers. And then now I'm adding a couple things of butter, more butter for it because some already evaporates.
And these were delicious. The potatoes that you made too were delicious. Is there anything special that you do with the potatoes when you cook them, Christine?
Nope, I just, I steam them because then it's less cooking time. And then I just saute them in a little bit more butter just to give it that extra flavor.
Yeah, the potatoes were delicious. I'm really hungry right now. It was so good. And yeah, those potatoes, sliced potatoes are really good. Is this something, when you open a restaurant, something that you would see at a restaurant, Christine?
Certain restaurants, I mean, definitely not around here. I never came across this kind of dish. But certainly I know that there are a lot of restaurants that have that.
And obviously you work this fast too. This is real time, right?
Yeah, right. I work those that fast.
So yeah, that was what's it called again, Christine?
Chicken piccata.
It was delicious. So thank you again for that.
Yeah.
And do your kids like that?
I made it once
Yeah.
for them. They were a little bit off taken by the tang in it,
Sure.
but they enjoyed it. But they're just not a fan of it.
Sure. So when you go home, I think I've asked you this before. When you go home, do you cook a lot when you get home? Do you try different recipes at home?
I do.
Yeah.
I try to get them to taste new things because I think it's important for them to keep
Sure.
their minds open to new experiences, especially my husband. Sometimes he's a challenge to
Sure.
get them to try new things, but it's a joy. I love it.
Sure. So what would you say, like me, obviously I can't cook anything. What would you say to people who are nervous about cooking or who are scared of cooking and they really don't know where to get started? What would be the first thing that someone should do, you think, Christina?
Well, come to Southwest Tech for the culinary
There you go.
program because you'll learn everything you need to know. But if that's not an option, then just take your time, practice, and experiment with your ingredients.
Sure. Are there a couple easier things maybe in the beginning that people could make? Or is there something out there that you would recommend?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, everything's got its own difficulty, whether
Sure.
to cook it the correct way.
Sure. And then you mentioned after graduation you hope to open a restaurant. Can you tell me about that? What do you hope to, I guess, be involved with a restaurant? What type of food do you hope to serve there?
Well, my husband and I would like to open up a barbecue smokehouse
Oh.
in the Boscobel area. Try to
Great.
bring in a little bit of variety into the community, and I think it will go over very well.
Great. Your
I've had-
kids like that too?
Yes, we do. We smoke a lot of meat at home in the summers. We experiment a lot, especially with wild turkey.
That's
fantastic.
That's great. And the other question I had is, obviously you came back to school, you thought it was important to further your education, you were interested in culinary.
Yep.
Would you have any advice for other students out there, maybe non-traditional students who are thinking about coming to Southwest Tech or elsewhere to further their education, that they're interested in a different type of program, a different type of career? I mean, what should they do, Christina? I guess, what was your motivation behind coming back to school that maybe you could share with them?
Well, I did mine a little bit different. When I decided to come back to school, usually you would contact the advisor
Sure.
and you would sit down and have a meeting. I didn't do that. I actually contacted Jeff, the instructor, and set up a meeting with him
Sure.
directly. And I came in not knowing anything, who he was or anything, and we sat down, and within 10 minutes I knew that I was going to be coming to school here. He's open, he's very nice, I guess. I mean, there's a better word for it, but
Sure.
off the top of my head, I really respect both of them. They have taught me a lot.
Sure. That's great. Good. And we talked about this a little bit. Being in culinary, do you have a favorite chef that you follow or a favorite cooking show that you watch that sometimes maybe you get hooked and you can't get away from it, Christina?
I watch a lot of Chopped
Sure.
at home with my kids and my husband, and that's fun because we'll sit there and they'll do it one way and we'll be like, no, you should do it the other way, or you should have done this, and it opens your eyes. I mean, because you're not able to experience those people in person, but through some of the TV shows, they do a good job at explaining what they're doing and why they're doing it that way. And right now I'm watching Top Chef.
Sure.
So the finale for that is tonight. So I'm super excited about that.
Sure. Another very important thing that I want to talk about that's super exciting is you were recently named Southwest Tech State Student Ambassador.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts when you got the call and you received that news, Christina?
I was extremely excited. It's something that I have wanted for about a year now. Last year's ambassador, Melissa, state ambassador, is a really good friend of mine. We talk all the time, and just watching what the opportunities that she had, I decided that I really wanted an opportunity to be the state ambassador. And I'm so looking forward to helping in any way I can.
That's great. And I would think that Southwest Tech, I guess, has played an important part in your life, and that's why you wanted to do it. Can you
Yep.
talk a little bit about that and what that means to you, Christina?
Well, Southwest Tech has played a huge part in my life. I started school back in 2006 and wasn't able to finish, and I had a great opportunity to come back. And I thought it would have been a little bit like, maybe people would have looked at me funny, well, why didn't you finish that? But it wasn't. It was totally different. Everyone is very open here, and everyone helps you. It doesn't matter if they know you or not, and you need help, they're going to stop and help you.
Sure.
So that's what I loved about Southwest Tech. And since I'm not a traditional, student, everyone just made me feel very comfortable.
Sure. And everybody enjoys your food.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Good. Well, I appreciate your time, Christina.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the interview and the information. And if anybody else is interested in the culinary program, the website is up there, swtc.edu/culinary. You can get all the information there. Talk to Karen or Jeff. They'll be willing to talk to you and give you all the information. You would give it a thumbs up, Christina. You like the program?
Yes.
That's great. Again, thanks, Christina. Next week on Chargers Chat, we will be on site somewhere. I will give you all the details in the next couple days, but I'm really excited. Our first Chargers Chat off campus, somewhere in the community next week, so look for those details coming up real soon. Again, thank you, Christina. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And we will see you next week right here, noon on Thursday. Thank you.